Vi har ikke opplevd dette på 25 år når vi var inne i sentrum. Så det sier jo litt da at sikkerheten vår er veldig god.
Hva gjør dere nå videre?
En heeft de test ook gelijk maar stilgelegd. Die raket die werd getest is van groot belang voor het ruimtevaartprogramma van Japan. Want daar willen ze in maart officieel de raket lanceren.
Nakon čega se udaljio bez plaćanja, dok je u Daruvarskoj drogeriji na trgu Kralja Tomislava ženska osoba ukrala artikle u vrijednosti nekoliko desetaka eura. Što se tiče prometa, u protekla 24 sata zabilježili smo 3 prometne nesreće, 2 s materijalnom štetom na Bjelovarskom i Čazmanskom području i 1 prometna nesreća na Bjelovarskom
A rock band like, say, Nickelback.
Achat différé de 50 € offert des 300 € d'achat.
Et des bons plans Black de chez Black. Exemple, le lave-linge Hublot 7 kg Indesit à 309,99 €. Ou le téléviseur Philips Smart TV 4K UHD 55 cm à 399,99 €.
Lâchez tout et venez.
But jouer aux Arches sera ouvert ce dimanche.
Détails et conditions en magasin.
Ici, c'est Metz 92.8. Direct FM. Carrefour.
Quand vous me dites, non mais on en parle de ceux qui remettent les papiers vides dans les boîtes de chocolat? On vous voit, hein? Eh bien, je vous réponds.
Of the Mail, no more tax rises, insists Reeves. We talked about this job initiative. We're going to give you more details on that. Britain isn't working, admits PM. The Times, a sort of reference to a lot of what we covered yesterday, we have to say. And the Guardian, Labour makes pledge to ensure no young person is left behind. Let's finish with the Daily Mirror. They have a picture of a young girl, gosh, absolutely covered in mud, sweat and tears. This is as the clear-up begins across much of England, particularly Wales, west of England and Wales. Questions being asked of how there would appear to have been such a failure of the warning system by local politicians, central government politicians, meteorologists and others. To the LBC website, they're doing the Britain Isn't Working line with Sir Keir Starmer. The Independent website is the fact that Big Reeves, as in the Chancellor's, battered by business bosses. And which one is this? Mail Online, spoken to the gentleman with whom we've just spoken, the pub landlord, Michael Westwood. Why I started the petition is Mail Online. Well, you just heard that here. Okay, to Optimakti and Murdo, did you sign or not sign? Which is the story with you, sir? Good morning.
Yes, I signed the protest, and the reason I signed it, I don't know if you remember Sir Keir Starmer on the steps of Downing Street saying, I'm going to step there, I can't even do a Keir Starmer impersonation. It was going to be a light touch government, he was going to tread lightly on us after all we've been through. Well, personally I feel, and our family feel as if we've been thrown under a rotavator. And firstly, we'll take it in order, flatten school fees, and then the winter heating fuel allowance on our flat.
He did tell us about VAT, Murdo, didn't he? Do you remember it?
He did tell us, but we thought hopefully maybe, because everyone's voted for him, he might be nice, and this light touch that he talked about might include the back in school fees. Then after the back in school fees, right, we'll give him that. There's the winter fuel heating allowance for 96-year-old father.
Yep.
Then there's inheritance tax, which the calculations could, with recent land values that we've got no intention of selling, could cost us £1 million. Then there's £50 a tonne of fertiliser just to promote these initiatives. So if that's a light touch government, I'd hate to think, what is the like who's going to be heavy-handed.
Well, you said how it encompasses your entire family, Murdo. Thank you for running through this. Best wishes to them all. Coming to you, Jim, as another caller. Jason says, this is disappointing. Of course you'll peddle this nothing burger of a story. Do you ever connect the dots? This is toady propaganda. Same subject. This comes in from Richard in Hampstead. When the petition to call a general election gets to 7 million signatures, the King should advise Starmer to comply. Tanya asked how many people signed the petition to cancel Brexit. I think from memory that was £6 million. 6 million. I'm so sorry, 6 million signatures. I'm so sorry, 6 million signatures. This is from Andy. If the people who voted Labour a few months ago are still happy, then Labour have nothing to worry about. But I believe some people who voted Labour feel conned. We need a general election in spring next year. I'm sure some probably do, but some probably don't. It's reality. Jim's in Heathrow. Jim, did you sign it?
Yes, I did.
Why is that so?
I signed it because I believe Labour's leading the country down the wrong path. Myself personally, I'm a single working parent. In July, I had a call from the DWP advising me to come in, and they said to me that although you're working, your children are above 13 years of age, and you're not working enough. So what
do you mean you're not working enough? What did they mean by that?
They said that I needed to be working more hours than what I'm doing now. At present, I'm on a restricted work capability because I'm suffering a little.
Well, were they aware that you have issues?
Absolutely. When I was appointed the work coach, I advised them that my daughter passed in January. I'm grieving at present.
Sorry, you lost your daughter in January?
Yes, I lost my daughter in January.
How old was she?
She was 29. She will be 30 in September.
No wonder you're not fully back.
Yes, and they sent me a UC50 form to fill in, being a medical referral system.
I'm desperately, I send my condolences, but what, if you don't mind my asking, what's this to do with the petition, sir?
Well, it's a case of, that it's not only they're wanting to get people back into work, but people that are already working, and you advise your situation. They don't listen, and they basically say that you're going to be sanctioned if you're not doing more hours. So they're advising that I need to look for another job.
Okay. Right, sir. My deepest condolences, particularly as we approach this time of year. I cannot even contemplate the horrors that you're going through. I need to say that possibly some of the legislation that you're being treated harshly by was probably on the Conservatives' watch, although you do speak to this drive to get a lot of people back into work, so that's something we'll look at later. But look, the overriding message is, my sympathies go out to you. You're in a tough place. I hope things... Gosh, how can they get better if you've lost your daughter? They never will they? But I hope things abate, let's put it like that. I hope the situation gets less raw, that's the best we can hope for. 7:26, Daniel, you'll be the next caller on this petition. To sign or not to sign, that is the question. Elon Musk and, of course, Sir Michael Caine only wanted to blow the bloody doors off, as they say. But let's pick up on this story that you've already heard covered on LBC News Bulletin. This is an arrest after a man after shots were reportedly fired directly into a car with 2 children inside. LBC's Henry Riley is at the scene in Kensington, West London. Henry.
Nick, an ordinarily quiet street in the Royal Borough of Kensington in Chelsea interrupted with the sounds of multiple gunshots and a of children screaming. Southern Row is a street just off Ladbroke Grove, lined with blocks of flats, houses. It has 3 primary schools within just minutes away, but it saw armed police rush to the scene just after 5:30 p.m. on Sunday. Now, eyewitnesses reported seeing a gunman shoot into a car at close range, which prompted sounds of screaming that emerged that 2 people sustained serious injuries, a 34-year-old man, but also his 8-year-old daughter. Now, for him, the injuries are thought to be potentially life-changing, but for the girl, thankfully, not life-threatening, and she underwent surgery yesterday afternoon. There were 4 people in total in the car. The other 2 are not injured. They were the girl's mother and 2-year-old sibling. But residents here are left with more questions than answers. Mainly, was this a targeted attack? Were the individuals known to the attacker? Superintendent Owen Brenowden from the Metropolitan Police said that he recognised people's anxiety.
I recognise that any shooting has a traumatic impact on the local community. And I've already heard today how last night's incident in particular has affected local people. And we are working closely with our partners to increase the presence of all services in the area.
A 22-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of attempted murder and remains in police custody. Nick, Scotland Yard were combing through every inch of the crime scene yesterday and are still appealing to the public for more information.
Henry Riley reporting 7:28. Daniel in York, have you signed it? Good morning.
Morning. No, I've not signed it, and to be quite honest with you, I've got no intention of signing it. There's one thing, before we go down political lines into somewhere I may or may not sit on not being a Labour supporter, one thing I find very hypocritical from predominantly the right on this action is, you remember all the mass fallout post-Brexit, and the line that came through that campaign, and you're just a Ramona, you remain as just Ramona. We've had our democratic moment, we've voted Labour, it doesn't matter what it was based on, we're doing Labour. So why is it any different now? We've had a general election, we've had a democratic system where Labour have won the majority of seats and they're now in power. And because 2 people 5 and 6 months later don't enjoy let's have a petition which has zero stance in our constitution.
Well, all I would say is if you listen to the gentleman who started it, it is down to the broken promises from a party that sought to put out those promises to gain power. Now, you can talk about Brexit, but nobody actually gained power through Brexit. A decision was taken as to the future of this country.
Well,
many people would weigh based on lies, but it's not as if a new government was formed as a result of Brexit. So that is what the difference is.
I'll be honest with you, Nick. You're quite right. Yes, some individuals may not necessarily gain office or gain position through Brexit, but I very much disagree with your comment about people didn't gain power through Brexit.
Well, they didn't. But we didn't change the government. Daniel, we didn't change the government.
No. That's what I'm saying.
That's the difference.
Nobody took office through the actions of
That's
Brexit,
the difference here, isn't it?
The argument on power. Power doesn't necessarily mean you're in an elected position in government, does it?
Look, I mean, we spoke with the public. He knows there's not going to be another general election. It's a warning shot. Do you think the government is delivering on its promises of 4.5 months ago? Are you happy with progress so far?
I very much agree with the that he had on earlier, is that a lot of these things are going to take time. A lot of these things are going to take time. Ultimately, we've had 14 years of successive leaders in the Tory government who have done a lot of U-turns, a lot of broken promises, had a systemic approach of maintaining wealth into the upper classes and the elite. And massive reform is needed. And ultimately, where we stand right now, I don't think we have seen enough of this Labour government to...
All right, Daniel, you're absolutely right to point out the Brexit referendum. There were 6 million people, of course, who asked for another go at that. And the difference there is that you accept, but I absolutely respect the points you made. Daniel, thanks for that conversation. Have yourself a good day, mate. Shall we try and lift the mood a little bit? If you're an F1 fan... Ferrari engines in Cadillac cars. We'll discuss more of that in the world of business in just a few minutes' time. It's now 7:31. Breakfast with me, Nick Ferrari, here on LBC News Time. Thomas Watts.
Places with the highest highest levels of joblessness are to be given more NHS funding to help get people into work. Ministers have announced a series of reforms designed to tackle economic activity and reduce the benefits bill. A danger to life flood warning is still in place in Northamptonshire after Storm Bert struck over the weekend. Communities across parts of England and Wales are beginning to clean up the widespread flood damage. At least 16 people, including 2 British visitors, are still missing after a tourist yacht capsized off the coast of Egypt. The Foreign Office says it's supporting a number of British nationals after yesterday's sinking in the Red Sea. LBC weather: drier with sunny spells for many. Some showers in Scotland, Northern Ireland and later on in southwest England. A high of 11 degrees.
This is LBC.
The EasyJet Black Friday sale is now on, with up to 15% off thousands of flights to destinations like Tenerife, Tunisia or Barcelona. But hurry, these deals won't be around for long. Book now at easyjet.com. Get out there. Selected dates, book by 11 p.m. the 2nd of December 2024. Flights one way, T's and C's apply.
Hi, it's Bruce the Butterfly here. Ooh, and I'm really high up. You see, Scottish Power has just been ranked top large energy supplier in the UK for customer service by Citizens Advice. We're reaching new heights of excellence. Higher than any butterfly's been, that's for sure. It takes a huge effort to get all the way up here. There's a whole team of people working their socks off to reduce call waiting times, improve email response times, and handle complaints quicker. But at Scottish Power, we're not standing still. We're going to keep setting standards that are higher and higher and higher.
For details, go to citizensadvice.org.uk. Large suppliers include those with a market share of at least 5% in either gas or electricity.
Here we are, 372 miles, 4 service stations, 254. Are we there yet? Let's holiday.
Yay, well done, sweetheart. Do you want to call them to let them know we're here?
Yeah, can you just pass my reading glasses? They're in the kitchen. I left them in the kitchen 372 miles back.
Should have gone to Specsavers. Buy glasses from £70 and get a second pair free.
Are we there yet?
Include single vision lenses to the same prescription. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details.
We're so happy, just so happy, we're all so happy. Happy trains.
Don't let a blocked-up drain ruin the festive cheer. There's always a better way to dispose of roasting fats and other blockable substances, from the smallest of crumbs to the thinnest custards. Find out all the tricks and tips and visit happydrains.co.uk. Happy Drains. Happy Christmas.
Nick Ferrari at breakfast. Call 0345 6060 973.
7:34, we are talking about this petition calling for a rerun of the general election. This time yesterday it was somewhere in the region of 1.6, 1.8 million signatures. Now it's 2.6 million. Support from people as diverse as Sir Michael Caine, Berners Park and Elon Musk. Trevor, you'll be the next call on that. Into the world of business, joined by markets commentator with Aquis Exchange, David Buick. And David, well, this channel gives you everything from I'm a Celebrity through to BGT and a dash of X Factor as ITV. Could there be a sale? Good morning.
Good morning to you, Nick. Well, I think it can't be ruled out when you consider that in the last 10 years that ITV share price has dipped by 70%.
Over how many years, David?
And, you know, and that is down to rather a passing share price of 71.15p. And that's including an 8.6 bounce yesterday on takeover possible target. And, you know, the company at the moment is valued at around £2.5 billion. And the market share is come under cautious, not confident at all. Advertising spend. And the profitability of the streaming service ITVX, that's the real number problem. To be honest, without being disrespected in any way, it's too small. And it doesn't have the clout that some of the other companies do have, whether it's Walt Disney or others. Netflix is the biggest thing, you know.
Disney, Apple has been squeezed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the report said there was it's really not confirmed. CBC is planning to team up with the European broadcasters such as France's group TF1. And the pair would split the company, with CBC take on the studios, and the broadcasting arm going to TF1. Now, that's just one, but others in the media, which is owned by Redbird Capital, which of course is a little nibble at the Telegraph, even before we see and Media One, backed, of course, by private studios, Gravis and Roberts. And they're said to be in studios, watch this space. much as I would like to see ITV remain independent against the pressures of international competition elsewhere.
We've referenced some of the front pages today. Estonia-based journalist sitting as the chancellor of the CBI. What did you take from the speech? What did you take from the response?
Frosty is the way I would look at it. I mean, to be honest with you, Rachel, when she brushed up business and she said that she couldn't understand why people were so angry, so there were no alternatives to complain about. She didn't really understand one. The fact is that morale is so low.
Yeah.
And unless you lift morale, you've got a problem. And you've only got to look at the various comments made by Nova. Let's start with the CEO of Dr. General Ray Newton-Smith, who's a really plucky individual. She's a great person. She warned that tax licenses and made it harder for businesses to take chances. And they will cut back on hiring pieces. Hiring people. Nick Soames, who was the chairman of this organisation, and brother of Lord Nicholas Soames, said that the government was treating business as a cash cow to be milked. And then you go up to the boss of the company behind the biscuit giant that Vizies, Jacobs and Carr, Salvador, and he just says, you know, he warned that the UK was historically one of the most suitable places to do business. In fact, the greatest investment of all our businesses has been in this country. So far, we've been a major investor. He did say we would like to continue to be a major investor, but it's becoming harder to understand. And yesterday, Thierry Garnier, the chief executive of Kingfisher, which of course includes the brands B&Q and Screwfix, £31 million is going to cost us national insurance. And they just simply can't afford it. And what I don't understand is that the Chancellor doesn't see that the one thing, there are two ways of raising money. You either borrow it or through taxation. So if you make the country successful, people don't mind paying tax. There is no incentive out there to invest. People are not incentivized to invest. They're not going to employ people. I mean, the number of people applying from university for jobs who simply can't get them, it's appalling. And they've got to change them.
Lastly, all the years I've known you, I don't know whether you're a Formula One bloke, Formula One fan, but there's an interesting development for 2026.
Petrol head I'm not, I'm afraid, sorry. And I do follow it loosely, but you should be doing this one because you know much more than I do.
Well, you know the business side. Well, it's interesting, does Jaguar sort of want to change on a totally different advertising theme?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is really, really exciting for, petrol heads. This is an application which will take place, I think, in 2026. Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the president of F1 governing body of the FIA, said General Motors is a huge brand. And a combination of that and Cadillac is great. Now, Michael Andretti had submitted something just on behalf of Cadillac. I think he was the son of Mario, wasn't he?
He was, who was, of course, was an F1 champion himself.
Absolutely.
A great driver, Mario Andretti.
Absolutely. Yeah. And they said, no, that's not a big enough name. But the fact that it's now attached with General Motors makes it actually very exciting. It's quite an expensive business to get in there. It's going to cost $450 million just to get in, just to get entry. The teams receive roughly about 63% of F1's income to keep going. This is larger than the $200 million anti-dilution dictated by the existing F1 rules. But the contracts between the teams, F1 and FIA, are after 2020 to be renegotiated in 2026. A very exciting prospect.
Bonus point to anybody who knows the year that Michael's father, Mario Andretti, ran the Formula One World Championship. That would be 1978. David Brooks with Aquis Exchange.
LBC Business Update.
With Who's Off, the easy way to manage staff leave and absence.
And at the moment, we will be talking about Russia warning Britain and France against sending soldiers for hire to the Ukraine conflict. Yes, you did hear that correctly. But let's take one more call now. Trevor in Thatcham has been holding on the line about this idea of a petition to rerun the general election. Have you signed it, or would you never sign it? Where are you on this, Trevor? Good morning.
Good morning. Well, I haven't yet, but I think I probably will do, because I think he needs a kick somewhere to realise what people think.
OK. What is it that affects you the most?
It affects me. I'm a small business owner, and the thing that annoys me is that small businesses rely on bigger businesses.
Yep.
The bigger businesses, if they're going to, which they are going to, struggle to pay staff, which is something that the Labour government said that it would never affect the normal public, which it will do, because the bigger businesses are going to pass the prices down to the public.
Yeah.
And it's not fair, because we're all part a big puzzle. They need us, the smaller companies. We need the bigger ones for certain things. I've got a printing business, and I
was
use
going to
bigger
ask you what you do
printers.
printing. Okay.
Yeah, I've got printing. There is this recession coming, I feel, because I do a lot of inverse power spec file trade.
Yeah.
A lot. And we've stopped giving out. I know that there's online and everything else these days, but it's been throughout the whole of the people that I use, and they've all said that it's gone dead. And that's usually one of the signs that there's a recession. And I think so many people are holding back. They're not spending.
Let me put to you the point that was made by Alison Phillips, the journalist and broadcaster, who says, look, this is a government where are going to take the tough decisions. They're being honest about it. This is for long term, and you will see an uptick in the NHS and other
We do need help in the NHS, definitely. But there's got to be other ways around apart from crucifying people that run businesses.
Trevor, good luck with the business you're running. I have to move on. Let us know how your business carries on. Thank you for your input. 7:42. To the story, I take you to Le Monde, the French newspaper, which, just so you know, is sort of basically the Times level. So it's, and I don't say this dismissively in any way, sense of wrong, because I worked on it, but it's not a tabloid, it's a sort of paper of record. And they reported yesterday that Britain and France have reactivated talks over sending Western troops to Ukraine. The Kremlin subsequently dismissing reports of these discussions. So what is the reality? What would it bring to the conflict? Dr. Peter Caddick-Adams is a military historian and defence expert. Look, whether it's true or whether it's not, let's explore this idea. What would it bring, do you imagine, to the conflict? Morning to you.
Yeah, good morning. Well, it would certainly sort of up the stakes. I mean, I'm not sure it's really on the cards. This is all about messaging, and just as Putin has launched an ICBM, for want of a better word, and the other day,
intercontinental ballistic missile, you mean by that?
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. Right. On Ukraine, advertising that you know he's got more power in his locker, as it were. Then this is Europe with a real weather eye on the arrival of Trump in the White House in January.
Why? Why does the arrival of Trump in January change
defending Ukraine indefinitely at the cost to the United States and has been on record for many months as saying he would want to seek a solution really on day one of the beginning of his office, and that would mean the end of United States support for Ukraine during the war at the moment, and probably the deal would be Ukraine losing a lot of the territory that Russia had taken. And that puts Europe in a very difficult situation because it doesn't believe that that's the right course ahead, and therefore Europe wants to look ahead at ways of carrying the weight, the military weight of supplying Ukraine on its own.
Dr. Peter Caddick-Adams, your military historian, thank you for your time. Coming up after the news, more on what are called the biggest reforms to employment support for a generation. Here's Work and Pensions Secretary Liz Kendall speaking yesterday.
Young people have been denied support. We're going to provide it to them because we cannot have a situation where 1 million young people in this country are not in education, employment or training.
Plus, remember the tobacco and vapes bill introduced by one Rishi Sunak? Well, here's Conservative Leader of the Opposition, Kemi Badenoch, explaining her opposition to the ban.
The smoking ban, I voted against it. I think it was violating multiple principles, personal responsibility, it violated equality under the law.
Tories at war, as ever. More on that later in the show. 7:45, LBC News Headlines. Thomas Watts.
The government's announced major reforms designed to tackle record levels of worklessness. 2 British people are still missing after a boat sank in the Red Sea off the coast of Egypt. Donald Trump swore he'll impose a 25% tariff on EU from Mexico and Canada. LBC weather dry with some spells for
Junction.
severe delays on the rest of the line. On the roads, very busy in Wallington with Manor Road being closed both ways, and in North Woolwich, Abbott Road remains closed.
This is LBC.
You know, I really love your...
Are you listening? Because Etsy has original gifts to make everyone feel heard. So let's try that again.
You know, I really love your gold droplet earrings.
Perfect. Now fast forward to the gifting.
How did you know?
Shop Etsy. Now with up to 30% off original gifts that say, I get you, until the 3rd of December. Etsy has it. Terms apply.
Call Nick Ferrari now. 0345 6060 973 LBC.
Jen knows stuff. Jen knows National Express has low fares throughout Christmas. Jen knows they'll even be running coaches on Christmas Day. Woohoo! Jen knows she's got a guaranteed seat that reclines so she can nod off to her Christmas playlist. Jen also knows she's on Dad's sofa this year, so best get some shut-eye where she can. Book now for fares from just £5 one way. If you know, you go. National Express. All round 50 bucks.
Intrepid Travel which means you can save up to 20% on hundreds of exciting summer attractions on the way. Sit inside the wind with the into the mountain ranges of Washington. We will gladnight travellers and local leaders to help you explore beyond the everyday sights. Intrepid Cyber Sale. On now at intrepidtravel.com. Terms and exclusions apply.
Where will the EasyJet Holidays Black Friday sale take you? Beach holiday with the kids, city break with the girls, 4-star hotel, 5-star hotel, or all of the above. Save up to £200 on package holidays and book with a £60 per person deposit. Search EasyJet Holidays. Book by 11 p.m. the 2nd to the 12th, 24. Deposit available up to 28 days before departure. Minimum spend, cancel protected. T's and C's apply.
Tonight's Euro Millions jackpot is £173 million. Now that calls for a dance.
Do I have to?
I hope you can limbo. That's it.
With these moves, I might just hit the jackpot. Get the Euro Millions feeling tonight. Euro Millions from the National Lottery. Play on app. Estimated jackpot. Account terms, rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
Hi, it's Bruce the Butterfly here. Ooh, and I'm really high up. You see, Scottish Power has just been ranked top large energy supplier in the UK for customer service by Citizens Advice. We're reaching new heights of excellence, higher than any butterfly's been, that's for sure. It takes a huge effort to get all the way up here. There's a whole team of people working their socks off to reduce co-waiting times, increase sewage pipelines, and improve compliance quicker. Scottish Power are not standing still. We're going to keep seeking standards.
For the relevant government minister to get into place to talk about the biggest shake-up of employment for a generation as this bill. Mark in Bognor Regis, I have a note you did not sign the petition. Why not? Do you think it's all a waste of time, a bit of bleak?
Yeah, I just feel like it's a virtual protest, really, because even if this time I did call a general election and then it went the people's way, and then it happened again, that the promises are broken and just going around in a big circle. So I just think it's a pointless waste of time. It's just people who have not voted for Labour and they're patient and they haven't even give the Labour Party a chance to even show what they're capable of.
So when one of my contributors says, look, this is a government that's came in and said we have to make tough decisions, this is not going to happen overnight, we're investing for the future, there is pain, but there is long-term gain, the NHS will start working again, other public services will start working again, you're ready to sign up to that, Mark? You say that's correct path?
Yeah, I mean, the Conservatives were in for, 14 years?
14, yes.
And it's not going to take even best part of a year to show any kind of progress for them.
Mark, really grateful for your input. Have a good day down by the seaside in Bognor Regis. It's been a while since I've been there. It's a lovely town. Thanks for your input, Mark. It's 7:51 now. We can turn to the relevant minister as we talk of, well, now the biggest reforms to employment support for a generation. The Get Britain Working White Paper will be the government's first major intervention to try and bring about an 80% employment rate. Let's hear more from Employment Minister and obviously Labour MP, Alison McGovern. So can you give us a little more detail? I don't want you to steal your boss's thunder, but what more detail can you give us, Minister? Good morning.
Good morning, Nick. Good to talk to you. So we know that for too long, people in too many parts of the country haven't had really good chances and opportunities. We know that when you go into job centres that are too, it feels a little bit there's no new technology. It's a very old-fashioned way of doing things. So we want to change that. Obviously, the main problem we face with our employment at the moment is the health of the nation. So Wes Streeting's big reforms to sort out our health system are very important to this. But alongside that, we've got to change the job centres. They've got to join the modern world and make sure that people are able to use new technology to connect with the best jobs possible. And saving time through that will mean that we can get our work coaches to spend much more time with people who've got really ingrained and difficult problems that we need to help them solve. And particularly thinking about our young people, they went through the pandemic, they had a really rough time, and we need to make sure our young people are now all getting into work and getting a chance and opportunity, because if you were out of work right at the beginning of your career, the effect of that stays with you throughout your working life. So we want to make sure that all of our young people are doing something productive, earning a living, learning so that they can have a career in the future, and that's what these reforms will do today.
How long will it take, and how will the job centres become recognisable from how they look today, Minister?
Well, I think that there are things that we can do immediately. For example, in some of our best job centres, they already do things much more flexibly. If I need to get in touch with my bank these days, they text me or I use an app. And some of our job centres have been trialling new methods of getting in touch with people. And so I think some of that stuff will happen much more quickly. In the longer term, we've also got investment plans for the country. So we want to put our investment in those places that have not had a good enough jobs mix, they've not had industry for a long time. So our investment plans, put that money there, that will create jobs. The thing that our job centres have got to do over the long term in those places is to make sure that people who are getting left out at the moment get those good jobs. So that change will take longer. In some parts of the country, employment is really low, whereas in some parts of the country we're already at 80%. We're already above 80%. So it's really targeting those areas over the long term that I want to see, and that will take a bit longer. Immediate change, a big reform over the long term.
Minister, there's an exciting line in one of the newspapers today, The Guardian, that says that teenagers will get skills training at the Premier League, the Royal Shakespeare Company, and Channel 4, as well as other organisations. Can you give us a little more detail on that?
Well, I have been lucky enough with Liz Kendall, our Secretary of State, already to go to my own beloved football club, Liverpool Football Club, to see the employability support that they provide for our young people. I know it's not just Liverpool either. There's lots of football clubs that do this really well already, and we're working with the Premier League to make sure that that is as good as it can be, that it reaches as many people as it can be, because...
So what sort of training does a young person get at Liverpool or Manchester United or indeed the Royal Shakespeare Company for that matter? How do they get their training?
So, one of the biggest barriers that young people face, particularly given what this pandemic generation have been through, is confidence and team skills, that things that I definitely learned when I had my first job in a shoe shop. I learned how to be a good team member, how to communicate well, and giving people a chance to be perhaps in a football club or as with the Royal Shakespeare Company or with an organisation that understands how teams work and how people can learn good basic skills to help them work, can give people the confidence to apply for something, to take a risk. And that's where the government can't do everything. Sometimes it's organisations that are already working with young people, that have a brand and an opportunity that young people want to engage with, that we think can really help. So that's why we're working with this wide range of organisations.
So there's a lot of carrot. Minister, will there be any stick? Because it's reported that spending on sickness benefits could top £100 billion by the end of your Parliament, this Labour government. Are there going to be any measures taken to encourage people that they have
So there have always been holes in the social security security system. If you claim universal credit, you have to do certain things to get that universal credit. You have to take activity that means you're more likely to get a job, and that's the right thing, because social security is a two-way street. People have to pay into the system, and it's there for them when they need it, and they have to do the things that they need to do to get a job. Those rules are important, and they underpin a well-functioning system.
So you wouldn't look to address 2.8 million people out of work as a result of long-term sickness? That will be allowed to continue?
We absolutely will address it. And as I've said, the rules are there in the system. We know we've got big problems structurally in our health system, and as I was saying, in the mix of jobs that are available to people that cause the problem. I think it's very important that those rules are effective and that they work well. When universal credit was introduced, we were told that that would be the answer to everything, and that would help people move into work, and it hasn't worked. So we should stay open-minded about what might need to change in the future. But the point that I would make is that we want people to stick to the rules, and we want the government to stick to its side of the bargain, so that people can see the opportunity that is put in front of them is a good one, and they take it up.
But there were headlines bouncing around yesterday, particularly for young people, if they weren't engaged in either employment or education or training, known as NEETs, that there would be possibly move to reduce their benefits. Is that a fact?
If young people don't engage in the way that they have to, then there are consequences for that, and you can lose access to benefits because of it. And that's the right thing, because there has to be rules in the system, as I've said. The problem that we've got is that the opportunities that young people have aren't good enough, and we have to fix that too. It's not just that we all have personal responsibility to work, which we do, but it's also that the government has a responsibility to put good choices and opportunities in front of people.
But Minister, can I put to you what people say on the show? For some people, not all, for some people in receipt of benefits, life's too easy. For some. Minister.
Well, I think people will always think about a tiny minority of people that they're concerned don't do the right thing. I would say I think there's a lot of people in this country today who why those rules are important, make sure everybody puts a shift in and does what they ought to do. Actually, I think there's a lot of people out there who haven't had a very good crack of the whip over the past 14 years, and it's about time people in this country did a bit better.
We've got a minute or so, 2 minutes left to go. Before we move on for employment, you will obviously know how many job vacancies there are currently in the UK, Minister.
831,000.
Oh, well done. Fair point asking that one. Okay, on we go. The government is reportedly thinking of a bank holiday thank you to the nation's heroes. This is obviously to mark the 80th anniversary of the end of the Second World War. I know you can't confirm that, but is it a reality that is under consideration?
I'm sure I can't, as you say, I can't sort of announce anything.
No, but it is under active consideration.
Look, the thing that is really important is that that event is a massive moment in our history, and we should take every opportunity to understand and remember.
When the Chancellor says there will be no more tax rises when she addressed the CBI, does that mean no more tax rises of any sort? Not just national insurance, income tax, all the other taxes?
Well, I can only repeat what Rachel said yesterday, which is that we had a choice. We could either fudge it and continue making spending commitments that weren't funded, or take the hard decision. Rachel took the hard decision so that she could draw a line in the sand and that we could move on with our reforms, and that's what we want to do now.
I'm not going to come back with more borrowing or more taxes. Those are her direct. So no more tax rises under this Labour government.
Well, I am not the Chancellor of the Exchequer, and I'm not going to write all future budgets on your programme, Nick. So, as I said, I just repeat what Rachel said, which is the purpose of these tough decisions is so that we can draw a line in the sand, move on, reform our country, get our health system working, get our young people into work, and that will help grow our economy, which will be better for all of us, including the public finances.
Okay, very much work-related. What can you tell us about the Business and Trade Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, announcing a fast-track consultation on electric vehicle policy? Politico is saying this is to water down some of the targets. Is that correct, Minister?
I haven't seen that report today. I know that it's very important that we get those targets right, but I haven't seen the.
So there could be a consultation on getting to the targets.
I'm sure that Jonathan Reynolds will make all announcements in there.
All right. Lastly, just coming back to something you said earlier, Minister, can you imagine life at Liverpool without Mo Salah? I'm holding up one back page for you now. Go Salah. It looks like he might be off from Anfield.
Oh,
Alison McGovern, all the questions I've asked you down the years. How will you cope?
How will we cope? Well, we will cope. I hope he stays. Obviously, he's an absolute football genius. It has been an honour and a gift to watch him play the game of football. In the end, you can't get too upset over any one footballer. I mean, I think the last footballer I cried when he left Liverpool was Robbie Fowler in 2002. And after that, you have to learn to get over it. So, but I hope Mo stays because he does such a great job.
You really are a true red, aren't you? Thank you for your time. Alison McGovern, talk in every sense of the word, of course, as a Labour politician at the biggest shake-up in a generation. Alison McGovern in Prime Minister. Thanks for your time. 2 after 8 on LBC News Headlines. Thomas Watts.
On your radio, on Global Player, and
Play LBC.
leading Britain's conversation. This is LBC.
From Global's newsroom, the government's announced a series of reforms designed to tackle high levels of economic inactivity. Proposals include an overhaul of job centres, mental health funding and extra support to bring down NHS waiting lists. Young people could lose their benefits if they fail to take up offers of jobs or training. But the Employment Minister, Alison McGovern, has told Nick there will be a greater focus on support.
Our young people, they went through the pandemic, they had a really rough time, and we need to make sure our young people are now all getting into work and getting a chance and opportunity, because if you were out of work right at the beginning of your career, the effect of that stays with you throughout your working life.
Searches are continuing for 16 people, including 2 tourists from the UK, missing after a boat sank in the Red Sea. Egyptian authorities say 28 people were rescued from the vessel off the coast of Marsa Alam yesterday. The Foreign Office says it's supporting a number of British nationals. Communities affected by flooding are starting a huge clean-up operation after Storm Bert. More than 142 flood warnings are still in place, including a danger to life alert in Northamptonshire. Claire Nazir, a forecaster at the Met Office, explains why.
The problem we had was that the rain was so heavy, and there's a lag time from where it catches the hills, the catchment areas, going down to the lower reaches where people actually live. And that's the reason why the flood warnings, there's more now than there was actually yesterday evening, even though there has been some dry weather around.
A scathing report by MPs and peers has described the city watchdog as incompetent at best. A 3-year review of the Financial Conduct Authority collected evidence from 175 victims of fraud. The FCA says it strongly rejects the conclusions. Donald Trump has threatened to impose sweeping new tariffs on Mexico, Canada and China. He's warned they'll stay in place until the US's biggest trading partners tackle the drugs trade and illegal migration. Beijing's embassy in Washington says there will be no winners from a trade war. And Newcastle's 3-match winning run came to an end with a 2-0 defeat at home to West Ham last night. Thomas Souček and Aaron Wan-Bissaka got the goals, taking their side 6 points clear of the drop zone. In the city, the FTSE 100 will reopen this morning at 82.91 after closing up 29 yesterday. The pound buys $1.25 and a euro 90. LBC weather, drier with sunny spells for many. Some showers in Scotland, Northern Ireland and southwest England. A high of 11 Celsius. From Global's newsroom for LBC, I'm Thomas Watts.
Mince pies, turkey, chocolate, sprouts, roasties, stuffing, sprouts, trifle, mince pie. Stop it! Subway knows what you really want to unwrap this Christmas. Something fresh, like freshly baked bread, melted brie, streaky bacon, red peppers, caramelised red onions and sweet onion sauce. 'Tis the season for the VI Brie Sub Melt. Now at Subway, eat fresh, freshen with their per order.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Ferrari at breakfast.
5 minutes after 8 on Tuesday, November the 26th. Let's come back to this conversation. Britain isn't working. The biggest shake-up reportedly for a generation. But where is the crackdown? I'll run some of the numbers past you again. I don't have to blitz you with too many figures, but I will run the numbers past you and ask, don't we need this? These great initiatives, good luck if it means that young people get trained at the Royal Shakespeare Company or TV studios. That's fantastic. And doesn't need a bit of stick too? Meanwhile, a bit of stick possibly for environment agencies, local politicians and others. Here's Lib Dem MP Layla Moran speaking in the Commons yesterday about why the Environment Agency was underprepared for flooding in her constituency in Oxfordshire.
They couldn't send enough people, not because they don't have the staff or money, but because not enough of them had completed a workplace assessment and training over how not to be assaulted by angry residents.
Remember the tobacco and vapes bill? Here's Leader of the Opposition, Conservative Kemi Boehner, explaining her opposition to it. It was first introduced, remember, by her predecessor, one Rishi Sunak.
And the smoking ban was again technocratic managerialism, not rooted in principles, and I absolutely here today.
That's one female politician who hopes to taste power. Here's another one who did. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has written a biography. What are her views on David Cameron, Brexit, and Great Britain? That's later in the
On LBC.
The Minister wouldn't say it, so I will. For some, not all, really important, those 4 words. For some, not all, life on benefits is too easy. I hope you heard that. For some, not all. That is the reality. And let me just share with you some stark figures. Spending on sickness benefits is now projected to top £100 billion by the end of this parliament. So there's not like 2050. That's the end of this time. It's 300-400 years. £100 billion. That's double the level pre-COVID. That's 5 years of pay. More than the schools, police and courts have combined. So we're spending more now on education and police and courts together. The level in which the National Health Service on the 7th of it's almost the cost of the NHS. So I say again, for some, not all, it's a bit too easy. This budget responsibility forecasts number of people is at 3.2 million. It will increase to 4.1 million, driven in large by concerns over mental health and mental illness. Yes, of course, that is hugely important. And someone with mental health issues, they must have all the support that can be afforded to them. But you honestly telling me that of the what will be 4.1 million, they're all going to have those sort of issues? No, of course they're not. The government wants in 2025 a consultation on the health and disability benefit system. Wow, that's a wordy, isn't it? Why kick the can into next year? You and I know the reality. Should we say it together? For some, not all, life is too easy. Now, just 20 or so minutes ago, I was speaking about this with the Labour MP and Employment Minister Alison McGovern. She told me about the government's grand plan to get more young people, in particular, back to work. But I asked whether there's too much carrot in these proposals, offering deals at Premier League clubs or Channel 4 or the RSC, Royal Shakespeare Company. Where was the stick? How happy is she with the fact those numbers, again, millions of people are out of work, claiming millions of pounds on long-term sickness benefits?
We absolutely will address it. And
in what way?
As I've said, the rules are there in the system. We know we've got big problems structurally in our health system. And as I was saying, in the mix of jobs that are available to people that cause the problem. I think it's very important that those rules are effective and that they work well. You know, when universal credit was introduced, we were told that that would be the answer to everything and that would help people move into work, and it hasn't worked.
in the room of gold. Počúvaš
Thank you.